Hey everyone, this is the first video I've made for the color still life, and I'm going to walk you through what I did here. I think you can see the still life over there. You can see my painting, and I'm not sure if you can see my palette. Let me check on that because it would be, no you can't. So anyway, I'll walk you through what I've done. I wanted to start in the background first, right? So I'm not trying to match that white right away. I'm not trying to do that. I'm setting it up with a foundation to capture that sensation, right? I want my marks to be free. In here, I don't want to think about flat and even because it's a piece of fabric and it's all over the place in terms of how surface undulation and texture, right? Subtle things happening. So I got the white out, the ultramarine blue, the purple, the violet, and the burnt umber. All right, so I got those colors out. Now your kit might not have all those. I can't. This is we've switched up the kit. I think you guys have the Windsor violet, which will work instead of the purple, right? So I mixed up a purplish light valued tint to put in here, and it had water in it, guys. So I was with the water up and down, and then I had mixed up, hunting for the lighter value. I had made a darker value, right, and had to lighten it up to get where I wanted here. So I went back with the darker value to start to lay the foundation for the shadows, right? Now, some of these shadows over here have blue in them, but I'm going to get there as I develop the painting. I'm not trying to get there right away. I'm setting my stages up, okay? So, thin, went with a darker, purplish, lighter value to set up the shadows. Then the next thing I did was take the yellow. Now, you're going to find out a lot about the yellow you guys have. You guys have the Cadmium Yellow Deep Hue. And what a hue means is that it's not, it doesn't have as much pigment in it as if it just said cadmium yellow deep. You would get a richer color that was less transparent, right? So the hue is going to be transparent as soon as you see it, put it on and start moving it around. You'll see whatever underneath come through, especially when you start to add water to that yellow, okay? So I went with the cadmium yellow deep and lighten that down and then just drop these in. And again, I'm not trying to make it perfect, right? I'm going to work this as I go, all right? And then when I got to the yellow that was in the shadows, I added a little bit of purple to the yellow. I mean, just a touch, right? Because the yellow's a hue, the purple's not a hue, so the purple's saturated with pigment, which means it's really going to influence that yellow. So, I mean, I just put in like just a little bit at a time to get to that yellow there. Down in here, I went down in here first because of inside that little box, and I want to correct myself. I said something about mixing up a black light color with burnt sienna. It is burnt umber you want to use. Burnt umber and ultramarine blue. So I went back and forth with that to come up with a blackish color like that for there, a little less water, right? But I still had it flowing. And then this blue that hits the highlight on the top, that's just a processed blue. But unfortunately, I think you guys got the ultramarine blue, but that works for me. So when I'm setting up the still life, I might be thinking about, I've got these colors, let's find colors like that are close to these, so it makes mixing the colors less difficult, okay? And if you have any specific questions about color, oh my lord, please, please, please reach out to me. Let me see, this is going to be an 8-minute video. I've got 3 minutes left, 3 minutes 45 seconds or so. So let's move on. I'm going to lay in this now, right? So what I'm doing is I got my processed blue out, which comes close to what I'm looking at up in there, right? And that was actually totally accident. And then I'm going to grab a couple brushes, and I'm going to get some water in this to thin it out. And I'm going to go thinner first instead of thicker, right? Thinner, and I'm just going to go in here where I see it really more transparent like. right? And in there, I'm going to go like, even that's too much pigment. That glass has ribs in it, so I'm going to let my marks mimic what the ribs are doing in it. Right, it has a textural pattern. In there, in here. Kind of like that candle in that last painting, right? In there. Now, if I'm off, I'm not going to get crazy about it, guys, because I can go back and correct the painting. And I'm going to go down in here, all the way down into here, where that is. Right, because I see those shapes in there. Right, and I'm going to go in there. And that's all I'm going to do. This is just a foundation. That's all I'm hunting for, is a foundation to describe these objects, right? Some of you guys did a really great job with transparent objects in the still life, in the value. So you want to think about those things that are happening in your painting, right? So let's see again. A minute 45. All right, so I have that black mixed up, right? I have my processed blue going. So I'm going to take some of that black I mixed up with the burnt umber and the ultramarine blue. And I'm adding it to the processed blue to come up with a darker value for up in there and down in there. Okay? So now that's what I'm going to do. I've got that. It's a really quick mix. All right, now I'm going to go here. Here, and I'm just going to follow what I have here. In here, a little bit up in here. And if I'm off and it's rough, it's all right. Down in here along this edge. Because you have this, the whole painting can get fine-tuned over time, right? As you work on it. So that's that general to specific idea. Right, so in there, and then over in here. All right, in there. I look at that and I go, okay, and then some down in here. And I think we might be running out of time soon, so let me drop that in, there. There, and work this. And we're going to call that right as is. And so 35 seconds. So there we go. I got the